Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the American Tier 4 turreted tank destroyer, the M8A1. So is it any good? Yes, it is a very good tank destroyer. Now it has 265 hit points, which is on the low side of average for a Tier 4 tank destroyer. The lowest being the Russian Su-85B and the German Stug 3B, both with 260 hit points. And the most goes to the French Su-40 with 280 hit points. Now it weighs around 16 to 17 tons, which is about average. The lightest being the Electo at 8 tons, so you can ram that sucker all day long, but don't ram the French Su-40 because that weighs about 25 ton. The speed on this thing, well, it's seriously fast. It does 58 kilometers an hour in forward, which is really good. The next fastest is the Electo at 50 kilometers an hour. Now that allows you to relocate to other areas of the battlefield or to nip back and reset cap. It's really good at that sort of thing. It's also very fast in reverse, doing 20 kilometers an hour in reverse, which is the fastest of any Tier 4 tank destroyer in reverse. Now, what that enables you to do is use its good gun depression to hill fight. You can pop out, shoot, pop back, and you can pop out from behind cover, pop back. That said, you don't want to trade shots with people in this tank. This really is a hide in the bushes, be stealthy, and shoot from cover tank. Don't want to take shots. The armor isn't very good. Now, traverse speed on this thing is 40 degrees, which is surprisingly good. The only one that's better is the Marder 38-2 at 42, and also the Electo has 42, which is not that much better. And the worst is the Hetzer at 30 degrees a second. So truck traverse is good, it's fast, and it turns pretty well as well. But don't think that that allows you to circle other tanks and get in and fight with lights and mediums. It doesn't, and the reason it doesn't is because the turret traverse is hideously slow. When they do turreted tank destroyers, they deliberately give them, well, maybe it's realistic, but they do have very slow turret traverse. It only does 19 degrees a second. Hideously slow. If you really need to turn fast and get your gun onto someone, make sure that you traverse your tracks and your turret at the same time so you can get your gun to point at them. But don't get close to enemy scouts or medium tanks because they can circle you and you'll have a lot of trouble getting your gun to stay on them. Now, just to give you an idea, now the view range is 370 meters, which is pretty darn good. And if you combine that with binoculars, you get a really good view range. Now it's not as good as the other Tier 4 American tank destroyer, the non-turreted one, which is the T-40. That has 400 meter view range, which is off the scale at this tier. However, the worst one would be the Hetzer at 260. That's pretty much blind. So, but 370 is very good. And like I say, combined with binoculars, you won't have trouble spotting people. Signal range is the best at 750 meters. And this thing has good camouflage as well. Now, a lot of the Tier 4 tank destroyers have good camouflage, and look, it's only average for its tier, but it is still very good camouflage. But that's not the whole story. What makes this thing great at camouflage and what makes this tank so stealthy is that because it has a fully traversable turret, it doesn't have to move to adjust its aim like all the other tank destroyers do. If you want to fire at something that's 45 degrees off to your right, you've got to turn your tracks and you lose your stationary camouflage bonus. This tank you don't. You also don't have to reset your camouflage net. Your camouflage net will stay operational because that stops being operational once you move. So, and the same with your binoculars. So you can hide in a bush, you've got good camouflage, your camouflage net will activate and you don't have to deactivate or lose your stationary bonus. A big advantage. This thing is seriously stealthy and a lot of times you can be shooting at people from bushes and they will not have a clue where you are. Great little stealthy, sneaky tank. Now, the gun depression on this tank is pretty good. It has 8 degrees of gun depression and 20 degrees of elevation. The best in class is actually the T-40 and the Su-40. They both have 10 degrees of gun depression and 30 degrees elevation. But 8 degrees is still good enough to hill fight, and it does have a pretty strong mantle at this tank. Well, it's strong against Tier 5 and below anyway, so you can sort of hill fight a little bit with it as well if you want. Now, let's quickly have a look at the grind for this tank. Now, I was able to go straight to the top radio and top engine, so I can't tell you much about those. The tracks do take your track traverse from 35 to 40, so definitely get the tracks. The howitzer gun here is actually works really well, but the penetration is so low. It's like the T18 at tier 2. It just doesn't do enough damage, so forget about that. This gun also not worth getting, I didn't think, but this gun here is very good, and this gun here is also very good. Either of these two guns will work perfectly well, and they are both viable options. You'll have great games with either gun. You have the 57mm gun here on the left and a 76mm, which is the top gun here on the right. Now, they're both very different. This one has, the 57mm has a 24 rounds per second rate of fire, which is fantastic. Very, very high rate of fire. It has 110 penetration, which is pretty good for a tier 4. It does 75 damage, which is not bad. It's average for tier 4. 0.39 accuracy, which is rather good, or it's about average, I guess, for tier 4. Not bad at all. And a 1.7 second aiming time, which is sensational. It aims very, very quickly. So with that rate of fire, with that aim time, means that even though it fires very quickly, you will still be fully aimed on every one of those shots. Great gun, and very high damage per minute in this gun. Really suits the style where you want to just keep your gun firing, and you want to track tanks as well as you know, hitting and doing damage. Works very, very well. The other gun is quite different. It's 14.29 rate of fire, which isn't slow. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near as quick as the other one. The only thing with this one, which is the only downside of it, it has 101 penetration, so it has 9mm less than the 57mm. However, it does do 110 damage per shot, which is pretty darn good. Has slightly worse accuracy too at 0.43, but I didn't find it that bad. You do occasionally miss shots at long range, but it's not too bad. And that rate of fire, it's not a disaster if you miss at long range, so long as you're in cover. 1.7 seconds aiming time, once again, is sensational, especially on a gun that does this much damage. So this gun works well if you want to take a shot, relocate, take a shot, relocate. In that sense, the reload time then doesn't matter. Whereas this gun suits people who just want to keep firing, and pelting them, the enemy, and tracking them and doing lots of stuff. This one is more, you want to stay in cover, in stealth, and just take a shot and then maybe relocate. Anyway, either of them work well, and you'll have great games with either of them. There's probably not much more to say other than what I will tell you about the tank in Tank Inspector. But it is, yeah, is an enjoyable tank, and I do hope you like the gameplay I have for you. So let's have a look at the armour of the M8A1 in Tank Inspector. We'll go straight to the colorised view. So frontally, the armour is not too bad. We can see here the lower and upper glacis is 44mm of armour, which, look, it isn't much, but it may stop some tier 4 tanks. The upper plate is 29mm and really won't stop anything. And 25mm on these hatches. The turret ring isn't very good at 25mm. However, it gets better from here on up. The turreted area here on this side of the turret is 38mm, but it is sort of sloped and it's not too bad. This area surrounding the main part of the mantlet does overlay the armour underneath. So in that respect, we have 25mm over the top of 38mm, and especially if you're on a hill looking down, it comes up pretty good and will bounce some tier 5 tanks quite well. But tier sort of, tier 4 tanks quite well, but tier sort of 5 and 6 tanks will sort of penetrate it most of the time. The mantlet itself isn't actually as good. It's only 38mm all around, so really it's the blue section relying on. However, it does cover the important top section of the tank, which if you're firing down, that's what a lot of people will be hitting, and that will bounce some shots. Getting onto the side of the tank now, it's 29mm here, which is not much really, and the rear part of the side is only 25mm, as is the side of the turret. The rear of the tank, once again, 25mm, won't really stop anything. The top deck of the tank is only 13mm, which is terrible, and the top is completely open, of course, because it's an open top tank destroyer. So if you get hit by artillery, you will be one-shot killed, almost guaranteed. And most of the HE firing guns from your opponents, especially the tier 5s and above, can one-shot kill you. So you really, in this tank, don't want to take fire at all, ever, if you can help it. Or the only time you really want to be taking any shots is if you're firing down with just your turret showing over a hill. Really avoid it. You really want to be in bushes and stuff like that. And once the enemy detects you, turn around and run and find another bush to shoot from. Okay, let's get into some gameplay. I have a gameplay with each of the two guns I mentioned. The 57mm and the, is it 75mm? Anyway, let's have a look.
Time to roll out.
Alright, so we are in a tier 4 game, which is great because we're in a tier 4 tank destroyer. The map is Fisherman's Bay, and I first start going this way, then change my mind. I think, hang on a second, there's no point going to town, I can't trade shots, I'm not a medium or heavy tank, I'm a tank destroyer. A stealthy one at that, so I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to turn around. I think for a second about maybe just go up the middle there, and I think, no, that's really not that kind of tank. Now, in this game, I have the top gun, which is the M7 gun fitted. Now that's the one that has the a little bit lower pen, 101 pen, but does good damage 110, and has the lower rate of fire. I actually played most of my games with the 57mm, and I have a game with that coming up next. But this game, we get to see this gun in action. So yeah, tier 4 game. There are, I don't know, about sort of 4 or 5 tier 3s in each team, but all the rest of the tanks are tier 4. Now, about now, my daughter comes in the room and tells me about a bruise on her arm, and so I kind of don't do much here for a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to fast forward it while that's happening. And back to the game. Alright. So as you can see, I'm being very cautious, staying well back. I've probably been a little bit too cautious here. I didn't play many games with this gun, and I just decided to play a couple of games for it so I had something to show you with it. And while I was doing that, I thought, you know what, this gun's not too bad. I probably should have played more games with this gun. Now the accuracy isn't as good, it's 0.43, but as you can see, that's 469 meters, and we're hitting. We're really hitting our T40 pretty hard. So, and as you see, the rate of fire is still good. And we kill him with the blind shot there. It was great. Just took a blind shot there. He's probably behind a rock. I just couldn't see. AMX40 traditionally fairly hard to penetrate. So we've only got, what have we got? 101mm. And that's enough to get the AMX40 in the side, which is good. At pretty long range. Now, I'm not on the MI stationary and have camouflage in it and all that, but I'm also behind a fair bit of cover, so these guys just can't see me. So bounce that one off the AMX4. Try and aim a bit lower, the lower plate, but I think I can see that plate. And very, very bouncy. So you can see the 101 mils can't pin. So I decided to change tack and go for the turret. And we can pin the turret. This time, no. Yep, turret again. I thought he was going to go side on, so we went to turret again this time. So it looks like the 101mm is good enough for the turret, but not the front of an AMX40. And you can see that, well, that's a tier 4 tank, that AMX40. So probably against tier 6s, this gun will definitely suffer. And we managed to get that Cruiser 4 there at long range. Not good armor, of course, on the Cruiser 4 anyway. And the enemy only has 2 tanks left, and we've got plenty, so we're definitely going to win the game. It's just a matter now, see if we can get any more damage in before the game ends. Another T40. I don't know if we hit or it bounced or what happened there. That one goes in. Only 90 damage, average damage 110 this gun, so a bit unlucky there. And he manages to escape. See if we can get another shot at him. I can't see him, he's behind a hill there, so we're going to have to move forward. He is in fact the last tank remaining, and he just died, so that's the end of the game. So as you saw there, the gun, the M7 gun, is a good gun, and I'm kind of regretting not having used the gun a bit more. Now, that was a Class 2 game, and we managed to get high caliber as well. Let's have a look at the next screen. We finished second for XP on our team and on top for damage, of course, because we've got high caliber. And the next screen. So we fired 21 shots, of which 16 hit. That's pretty good accuracy, considering that most of that shooting was, about half of it anyway, was over 300 meters. So the gun, I think it says .43 accuracy. It feels a little bit more accurate than that. 16 hits with 13 penetrations. I think the ones we bounced were pretty much all of them off that AMX-40. We damaged 5, destroying 3, which is not too bad, and did a little bit of assistance damage as well. 18,000 income. As you can see, the standard ammunition is very, very cheap, and we didn't get damaged, so we made pretty much all of it was profit. 519 XP is not a lot of XP to get class 2, so mastery badge in theory shouldn't be too hard, although I didn't get mastery in this tank. I suppose I might get it if I keep playing it, but I probably won't keep playing it.
Let's go.
Alright, the map is Prokarovka, and this time it's a tier 5 match. There are 4 tier 5s on the enemy team. We're in our tier 4 M8A1. I'm going to the hill because I've got gun depression, and I find the hill is one of the key areas that you need to conquer to win the game. And I do have gun depression, so I'm heading straight over there. As you can see, the tank is fast, and it doesn't matter what the terrain is, it really moves well over that terrain. So this game I have the 57mm gun fitted, so that's the not the top gun, but it is a gun that this is the gun I probably use the most on this tank. I really like this gun. It has the highest pen of 110mm, but it only does 75 damage per shot. However, it has 24 rounds per minute rate of fire, so it's very, very good. So I'm just going to pause at the top of the hill here and just see if I can see anybody cresting the ridge through the bushes there. Oh, a tree has gone down. I just fire a blind shot where I thought he might have been heading and move back. I don't want to stay up there because I cannot trade shots, and if he can see me and I can't see him, I'm just going to cop it. This guy's driving over and has just asked me for help. He can't be that experienced because he was looking at me by pointing his gun at me rather than just holding onto his right mouse button and having a look. Not a good idea to drive over a hill at the enemy with your gun pointing back the other way. So we fire one at T34, then hit the dirt. This time we get one through his turret. Now that's pretty good penetration to get a T-34 through the turret. It has a very strong turret. Over 50 mils of armor, I think. And well angled. I have a shot at his cupola there, but the accuracy is not that good. It's .39 on this gun, which is better, but probably not good enough to snipe the cupola at this range. So I'm staying back because I just can't trade shots. I've got no armor, and that T-34 is a very good tank. And here we go. We are penetrating it surprisingly well. All those shots are going in.
Enemy armor is damaged.
It has good armor, this tank, so we're doing really well. That went in as well, that shot, and banged through the lower part of his turret. Really good. Although he did get a shot into us. Excuse me. That was a very impressive performance. You can see there the rapid rate of fire. All those shots we got off, and he only ended up getting one shot at us. So now I decide, yep, it is time to move up because I've got another tank here with me on my right. And there's a Lux there, we get a shot into him. As you see, the really quick aim time helps a lot with that sort of quick shooting. It's just you've got to have your gun pointed the right way because it takes too long to turn. So long as your gun is pointed in the right direction, no problems aiming in time. So just waiting to see if some of these guys try and crest the ridge. I've got a Churchill one, so I've got a heavy tank, tier 5 heavy tank next to me, so they're pretty scared to crest the ridge. So I can kind of push my luck here a little bit. I'm just trying to see if I can peek over and get any shots over the edge. I've got to be careful though in case there's any TDs on that hill back there. I don't want them to snipe me if I get spotted. The other guy dies, so now I decide to push a bit harder and see if we can get some shots into this BDR G1B, an excellent tier 5 tank. fantastic gun, but he can't see me and he's running, and as you can see the rate of fire on this thing is just sensational, and because it reloads so fast, no problems shooting cover out of the way. You've got so many rounds and you fire so quickly you don't have to worry about waiting long to have another shot. So blow the cover away. Didn't give enough lead, and this time we give more lead, but he stops. Oh, finally we hit him and somebody else gets the kill. That was good. So you can see I am waiting back. I'm being very cautious because, you know, this is not a tank you can bounce shots with or trade with. So just waiting to see if this Churchill maybe spots somebody hiding on the hill across there. It could be a TD. And there we go, there's a Chiha waiting there. He pulls back, unfortunately, so I won't get a shot. I might just speed this up to 2 times. Just speed things up a little bit. Okay, so he's dived down. I decided now to move, so I'll slow it down again, but then I see this Chiha on the ridge there. Oh, we miss. Okay, well there's our 0.4 accuracy. 0.39 accuracy. I mean, it's still not great accuracy at long range, but you know, for a tier 4 tank destroyer, it's pretty good. So I see there's a tank there. I decided to blow the cover away, then he disappears, so I fire a couple of blind shots. I think it was a D2, was it? Medium, French medium tank. I have reviewed that tank. Ah, an Electo. Okay, so that's what I was worried about, something like that. So, but he's otherwise occupied, so we get some free shots into him here. I wish we had attracted him, that would have been good, but at this range you can't sort of pick those sort of shots. If I hit it, it's good. So I pull back again because I see the Electo's disappeared, and he could be repositioning, and he might, who knows, he could be repositioning to take a shot at me, I don't know. So I just want to re-stealth. Okay, he's down there now, so we won't be getting another shot at him. So it's only that other guy that could crest the railway line that we've probably got to worry about. Just waiting to see if anybody else pops up there again. We have 5 tanks left. They have 2 tanks, so pretty much you would think we've got to win this game. So I decided now, time to move in. We've got enough tanks. If I do die, it's not going to be a big deal. D2 there's just been hit, and so is our A20. So I'm rushing in, see if I can get a couple of shots off. There's only 2 tanks left, so I figure if I'm a little bit careful, I should be able to get shots off without getting hit. I don't know if I can shoot through that cover, so I decided to just move over a little bit. As you can see, he's totally unaware of our presence. He knows about us now, but he's just not even looking at us. I don't know if we weren't spotted or what. Anyway, he's dead. So that's the only tank remaining now, is that Stug 3G. He's managed to take care of one of our tanks, so it's now 4 against 1. I'm being very careful. Stug is a dangerous tank, so I'm using the hill for cover here as I move up. He is putting shots into our, I think it's a T-43 there, but he's not spotted, so if I go over the ridge, I'm not going to have anything to shoot at, and he's just going to be able to see me. So, alright, well he's just been killed. So now there's 3 of us against 1. This guy's on 4 kills, so I want to be a little bit careful. Our Churchill one is on 7 kills. So I'm moving up now, and oh, there he is. We've spotted him. I think we've been spotted as well. Yep, he shoots and misses. I shoot and miss. Then now I shoot and get one in. He shoots and gets one into me. Unfortunately, I'm only doing 75 damage for his 130 damage. And so I wait. I don't know which side he's coming. I just wait. I try and track him there, but I miss and I hit the rock. Now I'm just waiting for him to come through the bush. I put a shot into him, and now I'm in trouble. Put another one in, and he gets me before I can fire again. And looks like the Churchill one just got his Radley Walters there. He did. Well done to him. Alright, so a class 1 game there. Good game. Well done to that Stug 3 driver at the end there. He did a really good job. He, I think we only had a couple of tanks left at the end, so he did pretty well. And he did well driving straight at me rather than trying to stay where he was and trade shots. So good job to him. Let's have a look at the next screen. And yes, our Churchill one there finished on top for XP, getting a Radley Walters medal. Well done to him. And we did okay for XP. And we did the most damage though. We did 1469 and the Churchill one did 1265. So he got 8 kills and we got 2. Got ripped off. He must have been following me and finishing off everything I hit. Maybe not. Okay, so the next screen. And we fired 44 shots, which is quite a lot, and only 21 of those 44 hit. We did do a few shots though, blowing away a bit of cover, and it was quite a bit of long range sort of shooting as well. But yeah, we did shoot out a few buildings. We of the 21 that hit though, all 21 penetrated. So you can see, even at tier 5, we had side shots on the heavy tanks though. But even at tier 5, this gun with only 9mm more penetration, we got a lot more. We did a lot better with penetration than we did with the Top Gun in a tier 4 game. So it goes to show you the extra 9mm actually makes a difference at this tier. We did 1469 damage, which is quite good for a tier 4 tank. Only a little bit of that actually was at long range. We received 3 hits, all of which penetrated us. Damaged 7 tanks, destroying 2 of them, and we did a little bit of assistance damage as well. 27,000 income, and there's a bonus going at the moment. So if it hadn't have been for that bonus, we would have made about what 24,000 profit, I think. So once again, standard ammunition's cheap. Repair bill wasn't too much. So we received 848 XP, which is enough for a class 1. That makes me think that probably about 950-ish would be mastery for this tank. Okay. Thank you for watching my review of the M8A1. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.